Okay. I feel like today has been all over the place, but I'm home and it's 8:30 and I'm gonna do a bit of work. I don't know, I've kind of been taking advantage of having a few less hours than usual as far as web development work goes this week. And I'm trying to take full advantage and kind of get like the rest of my life in order, like administration stuff and going through emails. But I'm happy to report that I have a writing update going up tomorrow, Friday, and I also have a vlog going up on Sunday. And then this current vlog that I'm filming right now should be going up on Tuesday. This is the most organized I've felt as far as content goes in a while. Also in the previous video, I mentioned how far along I was as far as Between the Waves went, and now I finished going through all the manuscript critique that I got from the editor. I basically reorganized all the plot points I wanted to change. I made a bunch of notes on characters that needed to change, including one entire character that was kind of like an antagonist, a minor antagonist that needed to be fully removed. And then I also wrote a list of like, I'm gonna say 10 to 15 questions that I needed to answer about the world building and the characters, and mostly the motivations behind the characters. I think something that I was really lacking as far as character depth and development went was why they're doing what they're doing. It was almost like I was discovery writing a bunch of character traits and motivations and flaws and beliefs about themselves, when in reality I should have had those figured out initially. But the good news is that now we have 5,000 words worth of explanation of backstories and answers to all of those questions, and we have plot points that need to be changed. We have organization for this draft moving forward, things that I need to keep in mind, things I need to watch out for. I just have like basically 5,000 words of complete, wonderful, helpful gold for writing this next draft. And I went and I set up draft number 3, which I am so stoked about. And now I've taken that draft 2, which is the one that I sent to the editor for the feedback. So this is the one that I have the feedback for, and the one that I felt was most aligned to what I keep calling the soul of the story. And I've duplicated that file. I've renamed it to Between the Waves Draft 3. Now I just need to start going through it. Like, that's all there is left to do now. And I would also like to say, normally this is the part where I actually kind of like feel a bit of paralysis and I don't know what to do anymore, and I panic because I'm like, maybe I'm not ready to start, and I'll hold myself back. But because I've got the document set up, I've got the questions answered, I know my characters, I know my plot, I've set up the word tracker for the project on NaNoWriMo, the only thing that's left to do is start this edit and start draft 3. So I think sometimes when I'm overwhelmed by something, I start with a 10-minute sprint. I'm gonna dive in. I'm just gonna spend 10 minutes, start with the first page, chapter 1, one foot in front of the other, one word after another, and 10 minutes. That's all I need. I just need to get started. It's 7:10, I think, 7:12 in the morning on Friday. My writing update video just went up, so I'm just gonna review that now, make sure everything looks good, maybe add some chapters because I think I forgot to add chapters again. I have my coffee, and the first thing that we're gonna get into, as soon as I finish reviewing that video, I am going to jump into writing. Last night I did the first chapter because, like I was saying, I know that this is the point where my momentum tends to fizzle out a little bit when I have to like start something brand new, because it always feels very overwhelming. And it's always such a struggle to like dive into the next phase of a project when the next phase feels very big. But I did chapter 1 last night, which is exciting. I get to add a word count to my NaNoWriMo tracker this morning. I did the first chapter last night. It's better than I remember. There are still quite a few tweaks that I will want to make to that in the future, for like just to make it quite a bit stronger. But as far as the plot and the character goes, it's like a pretty good start. So happy with that. So I finished the first chapter last night, and now that means that I have words that I can add to the word tracker already this morning, which is very exciting. Great way to start the day off. And I'm gonna jump into chapter 2 and just see how far I can get for today. I'm thinking if my goal is to edit 40,000 words this month, edit/draft, because some will be new scenes, I'm gonna need to edit around 1,200. Does that sound right? No, probably like 1,300 words a day, which I think is totally doable. I already did that for last night, so I think we'll be okay. I think the days that I'll have to work harder for are obviously going to be the days when I'm writing a brand new scene, because that means that I'm going to need to be writing at least around 1,300 words. To take a little break. I'm just making some instant noodles, but I did finish my vision board for the new year. I'll give you a close-up so that you can see it, but this is it. I printed off photos that were a lot larger than the previous month. I forgot about that, but this is my vision board for March for the month. You can see I've got a couple little quotes. This one says, "She is still inside of me. I carry her with me wherever I go." It's like a nice like inner child kind of thing. "No one can tell my stories the way I can." And then one of my favorite quotes is the one that says, "And one day the girl with the books became the woman writing them," which just always makes me really happy. We have lots of plants, lots of books, lots of writing materials, because that is the main focus of this month. We're starting the vegetable garden, so like there's a lot of sprouts, and the garlic has come up, which I've mentioned before, just a garlic update. A lot of them came up, which is exciting because it means we'll have a pretty big harvest. But I'm excited I got that done. I also edited 3,100 words today so far. Exactly 3,100. I've finished chapter 2. I think I would like to finish the next few chapters as well, to be totally honest. I wanted to go into a little bit of detail on my plan going into this draft right now. So my plan for draft 3, I've started to reread obviously, and right now the things that I'm focusing on include adjusting the main character's personality and the traits and the way she reacts in certain situations. And I am adjusting that based on the new backstory and further clarity on who she is as a person. I'm also going through and making adjustments based on, again, the new backstory and how it affects the world and the lore of the world and like the culture and the society. It's very overarching right now, which I think makes sense for this point in a story. I think that with this draft, it should be overarching. Like, I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty details yet. I'm just making sure that everything is aligning with the new decisions that I've made, and the new kind of world building pieces that I've put into place. So that's what I'm focusing on. But yeah, I think I'm gonna watch a YouTube video and eat my instant noodles, and then even though it's miserable outside, I'm gonna go for like a 30-minute walk or so and just listen to my audiobook to take a little bit of a break. And then I'm gonna jump back into some more writing. It's very much a writing focused day today and I'm excited about it. Okay, I just got back from my little walk. It was lovely. It stopped raining as soon as I started to go for the walk, which was great. Pretty much all I have left to do now is a little bit of website work. I have to finish going through my emails because I didn't get through it yesterday. Edit this vlog as much as I can, but that's like pretty low priority because this doesn't have to go up till next week. And then I have to film the video for next Friday about making decisions on like ideas to keep within a story. And then I also have to film the coffee catch-up video for my Patreon, which is going to go up probably late Sunday night or super early on Monday morning. Yeah, I've had my lunch, I've had my walk. I'm about to crack open this energy drink. I'm gonna do some makeup just because I am gonna be sitting down to do 2 videos, and then we're gonna write some more because we're on a roll and it's going well. I'm gonna get one more chapter done because the next chapter to do is chapter 5, and this is one that doesn't need to be fully removed, but I think it needs to be massively changed, so I might end up removing most of it and rewriting it so that it's a bit better and it aligns a bit better with the changes that I've made. Okay, I have over 10,000 words edited, but I'm gonna finish chapter 7 just because I think chapter 7 is, it's not minor edits, like I'm still editing every paragraph at least, but it's not as much as chapter 8 will be. Chapter 8 is probably gonna mostly be removed and or amalgamated into a different chapter just because it's not really necessary anymore. I will say I have been going through and adjusting characters just so that they fit with the new backstory and they fit with the new story in general. Like some of the characters did need to be shifted and some of the setup needed to be shifted, just like in the sense of which characters were doing what and like kind of the power dynamics and stuff starting off. But one thing that I'm also doing that I feel like I can't help myself is what's basically like line level edits. Like I'm rereading this for the first time in probably at least 2 months or so. And I'm also going through and editing it while I'm rereading it. And I just I have a hard time sticking to one type of edit. Because the thing is, if I come across another edit and I'm like, this needs to be reworded, or like, I've used this word far too many times, I need to swap it out for something else. I just I can't help it. Like I kind of do little cleanup things like that as I'm going. I think it'll probably lead to like it taking a bit longer for me to do full manuscript edits like this. But at the same time, I compare it to what I have done previously with previous manuscripts and previous books that I've written, which is rewrite the entire new draft, even if it's like 5 drafts. I rewrite every time. And arguably,
that probably takes longer than just taking the time to like go through and edit and maybe jumping in and doing more line level minor edits while I'm doing that. So like, for example, I have like a very short paragraph when there's two people fighting. I said, the fire mage eyed the blade, confusion flickering across his features before meeting her eyes. He seemed to be searching for something, as though he thought there was more to why she was there than just the actions of a simple thief. Which, like, for example, I'm literally gonna remove the entire second sentence here, because I feel like this is one of those situations where I'm like, if I've already said this fire mage was like really looking at the blade that she had, and then he looked confused, and then he looked back to her and he's like, I feel like because he's done that sequence of like actions, we know that obviously he knows something's up. Like, he's obviously suspicious or confused because I've already said it. So I feel like I don't need to further explain in a second sentence that like, this is what he seemed to be doing. This is what he seemed to be thinking, which is what I've just done. I feel like it's insinuated based on the first sentence. So I'm going to fully delete that, because also in the next sentence, he makes a comment on the type of magic she's using and like the type of weaponry that she has. So it's almost like sometimes I'll use multiple sentences to try and over explain. And right now, because we're already sitting at 73,500 words, and I don't really want to go above 80 for this draft, I'm actually doing quite a bit of removing words, which I think at the point that I'm at, that's going to be helpful in the long run. Like, I think when I write a first draft, it's generally pretty long. But as I'm going through and editing this, I kind of want to whittle it down to be as few words as possible and just make those words like as quality and all-encompassing as they can possibly be. And then in a later draft, I think I'll decide if I'm not saying enough. But sometimes I underestimate how much readers pick up just from body language and actions and showing versus telling. So I'm trying to be mindful of that. I have like 400 words or so left of this chapter. And then we have chapter 8, which is going to take some more heavy lifting. So I'm going to finish chapter 7 for tonight and then call it a day. Okay, I did it. And I was feeling funny, so I ended that chapter. I have a habit also. This is something that I think a lot of writers have a habit of, because I've heard advice against it very often, is that it's very easy to end a scene or begin a scene in unconsciousness. So like, your character passes out because something traumatic happened. Your character wakes up at the beginning of a scene. It's like very easy to begin or end a scene like that. And while I think it's okay, especially because like logically it makes sense to end or begin a scene with that kind of sequence, just because that's the beginning of the scene for your character, that makes sense. But I'm trying to make my story more interesting, because like there are so many things that need to happen in the story and so many scenes that need to happen that do not need to open or close on unconsciousness. So initially at the end of this scene, the main character had been knocked out, and I decided to change it because I do that too many times. And right before she gets knocked out, she basically is feeling nauseous because of something, and the person who has caught her that initially had knocked her out, now I have it so that at the end of the chapter, that nausea kind of overwhelms her a bit, and out of spite, she throws up on his boots. And I'm satisfied with that. Which leaves our total of editing for the day at 11,112 words. My work kind of got cut short this week just because of like some client things going on, which is not a bad thing, because I think I needed the extra time to kind of relax. But financially, it's not good. So if you want to sign up for my Patreon, feel free to do that. Lots of behind the scenes over there right now. But I will say I edited the first 7 chapters of draft 3 today, so that's a massive win. So yeah, I'm gonna end this vlog here, and then we'll start another one tomorrow, I think, if I decide to keep on writing over the weekend, which I probably will, because I'm on a roll and I don't want to lose the momentum. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.